Sex worker Anora feels like she has hit the jackpot as a young Russian rich kid sweeps her off her feet and marries her so he doesn't have to go back to Russia. But unfortunately, this marriage does not make mommy and daddy very happy, which means some goons have come to ruin this fantasy world that Anora has found herself in. Film fans YouTube, hey and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, your movie apprentice, and today I am looking at Anora, another film I caught at the London Film Festival 2024, directed by Sean Baker. And it stars Mickey Madison as well as some great actors whose names I'm going to have difficulty pronouncing, so do forgive me for a second here. Mark Eidelstein, Karren Karagulian, and Yura Borisov. The film Anora has been heavily advertised and is the latest Sean Baker film. And I will say up front, if you are someone that is very prudish or very against sex scenes in movies, then Anora's going to switch you off in about 5 minutes. But before I get into my full review, for those of you that aren't against this sort of stuff, then hit the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time, including more London Film Festival coverage. I aim to get about 8 or 9 reviews out covering the festival. You can vote on what comes next as well in the community tab. But without further ado, let's jump into my review of Anora. So Anora, I will say straight up, is an unexpectedly funny ride. Now, I'll hold my hands up and admit, this, I believe, is my first Sean Baker experience because I've never seen The Florida Project and Red Rocket. I was just never able to catch, like, the festival season didn't line up for me during the festival season, and I didn't have any cinemas close to me that played it, so that was very unfortunate. And judging from the trailer of Anora, I expected it to be a wonderland up until a certain point, then it was going to take a dark turn. Well, no it doesn't. It takes an unexpectedly hilarious turn. The middle part of this film is where it shines the strongest, when the parents of Vanya, the boy that sweeps Anora off her feet, sends their henchmen to go deal with the situation. The exchanges are outright hilarious with some great slapstick comedy. Like, this is very Tom and Jerry in Pain is Funny, and it works phenomenally. I also have to shout out Mickey Madison as Anora is flawless. She is absolutely incredible in this role. You can tell she did a lot of work in this. I feel like Anora could have easily been just another bitchy, headstrong sex worker character that has very little going for her. But I love the development she goes on throughout this runtime. She goes from the stereotype to someone that is almost in their own little fantasy world, but slowly comes to realizations that things aren't as glamorous as they seem. And by the end of the film, the final shot in this just haunted me because it symbolically reflected Anora finally letting layers of her character peel back and really completed her arc. You could tell a lot about this character from that particular moment. It's probably the final shot that's going to live rent-free in my head from this year. I think it's just a really great ending to the movie, but I'm not going to spoil it. All I'm going to say is the journey that the character of Anora takes on this movie, whilst a funny one, is also a rather deep one, and Mickey Madison truly embodies this character and might be one of my favorite characters of the year. But going further into the movie, the supporting cast in this are very good. There is a character in this that embodies the gentle henchman role, very reminiscent of the character in Abigail, who's also the big, gentle, giant character. There is a similar dynamic in this. And the just general banter that these henchmen have with each other, along with Anora a bit later on, it feels natural. Like, this is very much a film that henchmen for big mob, mafia bosses, or billionaires deserve a union, because, Jesus Christ, some of the comedy in this, some of the call-outs is really well done. Like, Anora is never a damsel in distress in this. This whole middle section is just flawless to me. It's just a shame that the pacing in the first and the third act don't really gel for me. However, I don't think there is anything in this film that I would have cut either. It's a weird one. Usually when there's a film that drags on a bit too much in certain areas, I'm thinking what could have been cut. In this, I don't think anything should have been cut, purely because it really enforces the culmination of Anora as a character in the finale. So whilst it does ebb and flow in terms of the engagement that it has from myself, I wouldn't change anything in this movie. Like, does the early stages where she's getting swept off her feet by this rich, very childish billionaire kid. Yes, it drags on a little bit, but at the same time, it really lets you live in this fantasy romantic world that Anora has built up for herself. And same in the final act, that I will not say what happens in the final act, but it does feel like it's almost Lord of the Rings-esque in how we've got the conclusion of the main conflict. Yeah, it continues a bit too long after that, but it really adds to the culmination of the character arc. That I thought was really well done. Big shout out to Yura Borisov in this, who just plays the gentle henchman. He is brilliant. And Karagulian is great as basically the head henchman in this. He has some great comedic moments in this. Like, I cannot understate just how funny this film gets at times, from the slapstick to just the blunt humor. There is a lot of British style blunt humor in this that is really well done. I will say, in terms of the script, however, there are a couple of conversations that are played very blunt and almost are there to get an ironic laugh from you, but they're actually very uncomfortable conversations, and I can't decipher at any point why this would be a casual conversation. Maybe that's just me. That is a conversation that I probably could have done without, but I guess it really embodies a couple of the characters involved in the scene and their outlook and the value they see in themselves. That's what I really like. Like, every bit of dialogue does kind of enforce the characters, which is something that I don't feel like many movies know how to do these days. And Mark Eidelstein, who plays Ivan, or Vanya is his full name, he is a perfect child in this. Like, he is the definition of a rich brat. You want to punch him in the face, but he delivers it with such commitment that you can't help but admire it. You can see why Anora felt like she could really worm away into this guy's life, because he's very easily manipulated. He's just an outright child, and whilst I can't stand him, I'm also thinking, honestly, if I grew up with all the money in the world and I could do whatever I want, I would probably be this level of immature, because good lord, he is great. I just wish there was one line where they reference what his bedroom looks like, and I wish we could have seen that bedroom, because that would just be the cherry on top of what is such a childish character that acts all big, but moment mommy and daddy are involved, he is a scared little puppy. That element I liked, but yeah, Anora is just a movie that I would highly recommend to anyone. As long as you don't mind a little bit of flesh on screen, then you're going to get a kick out of this movie. Before I get into my grade, if you like seeing our channel, click that like button and subscribe for more video reviews that is coming all the time. But without further ado, let's grade this. So Anora is a movie that is the Mickey Madison show. She is phenomenal in this. The middle section is almost flawless. Whilst it does have some scripting issues and definitely some pacing issues, there is very little, if anything, that I would actually change about this film, because it works very well as a character piece. Anora is a great character and might be one of the top 5 characters of the year. I really enjoyed Anora, and I think you will too, but because of some of the uncomfortable elements that I had when watching this and some of the pacing issues, I can't give it a higher grade than I'm going to give it. And that is that Anora is, for me, a good cup of tea. So Anora, have you seen it? Do you plan on seeing it? Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more video reviews and London Film Festival coverage like this coming all the time. But until next time, I am Josh, I am Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.